The story begins with Karen, who is dancing at a lively Halloween party. Suddenly, she is gripped by an intense pain in her abdomen, causing her to step aside in discomfort. Brian, Karen's husband, reacts swiftly and rushes her to the hospital. To their surprise, they learn that Karen is merely 2 months pregnant, yet she is already experiencing labor pain. The doctor tries to reassure her, suggesting it might be early pregnancy cramps. However, the reports reveal an astonishing truth: Karen is carrying a fully developed baby in her womb. After a short while, Karen gives birth to a healthy baby boy whom she names Jack. Tests on Jack reveal that he has Werner syndrome, a condition that causes his cells to grow 4 times faster than normal. The doctors reassure his parents that he is perfectly healthy despite this unusual circumstance. Jack's internal clock runs at a remarkable 4 times the speed of others, leading to rapid cell multiplication. Unfortunately, there is currently no known cure for this exceptionally rare condition. The doctors estimate that Jack's body may resemble that of a 40-year-old man by the time he reaches the age of 10. 10 years later, in line with the doctor's prediction, Jack's body has undergone a complete transformation, making him look like a 40-year-old man. However, despite his mature appearance, Jack's behavior still resembles that of a 10-year-old. Due to his unusual appearance, Jack's parents had to make the tough decision not to send him to school. They were worried that other children might not understand or accept him, and that they would make fun of him. In the neighborhood, rumors are swirling among the kids about the mysterious giant living in the house. Lawrence Woodruff, Jack's teacher, pays him daily visits for lessons and has developed a friendly rapport with him. One day, while trying to teach Jack, Woodruff notices that Jack's attention keeps wandering towards the kids playing outside. They are eager to catch a glimpse of the 10-year-old boy who has become somewhat of a curiosity in the neighborhood. All of a sudden, Jack playfully startles them by tossing a toy with a monster-looking eye in their direction. Afterward, Woodruff gently guides Jack to sit down and continue his studies, but he senses a strange sadness in Jack's eyes. After the class, Woodruff advises Jack's parents to start sending him to school, noticing Jack's loneliness at home. However, Karen, Jack's mother, doesn't like the idea and is hesitant about it. Woodruff explains that he can talk to the school principal and prepare the other children in advance, so they would be more welcoming and understanding when Jack joins. Despite Woodruff's well-intentioned suggestion, Jack's parents firmly refuse to consider the option. In the evening, Jack and Karen play a game of tag at home. After the fun-filled game, Jack asks his mother if he is really a giant because he overheard the neighborhood kids talking about him during the day. Karen lovingly assures him that he is just like any other normal child of his age. Later, before going to bed, Karen and Brian are engaged in a discussion about whether they should send Jack to school. Just then, Jack suddenly enters their room, looking a bit frightened. He insists on sleeping with them because he had a scary dream. The next day, Jack's parents happily inform him that today he will be going to school for the very first time. Jack's face lights up with excitement, and he eagerly prepares for the new adventure ahead. He takes it upon himself to shave his beard, wanting to look his best, and carefully selects his outfit for the big day. Karen lovingly packs his lunch, making sure he has everything he needs for his first day of school. At school, Jack meets with the principal, who then introduces him to his teacher, Miss Marquez. As he steps into the classroom, he feels a bit shy, standing in front of his new classmates. To his surprise, he notices that the same kids he had scared away the day before are also in his class. Miss Marquez kindly introduces Jack to the rest of the class and then asks him to take his seat. Unfortunately, the seat turns out to be too small for him, and as he tries to fit into it, he accidentally falls down, much to the amusement of the whole class. They quickly offer him a bigger chair, but to everyone's dismay, even that one breaks under his weight, resulting in even louder laughter from the other kids. During the lunch break, Jack finds himself alone in the playground, and all the other kids are staring at him curiously because they have never seen such a big 10-year-old child before, let alone one as big as him. Among the onlookers, Luis and his friends, who had been scared away by Jack the day before, are also observing him from a distance. However, they are hesitant to approach him, afraid he might beat them up. Meanwhile, as some other kids challenge Luis and his friends to a basketball match, Jack watches them play. While he's engrossed in the game, 2 younger girls approach him from behind and start teasing him about his giant body and unruly hair. Then, after a while, the basketball rolls near Jack, and as he reaches out to return it, some kids start saying that touching the ball that Jack had touched might lead to catching an unknown disease. As a result, they don't want to play with that ball anymore. This hurtful remark pierces through 10-year-old Jack like an arrow, leaving him deeply wounded. Even Luis and his friends, who had their own issues with Jack, felt bad for him. After returning home from school, Jack is feeling deeply saddened and doesn't even eat his favorite food. His father notices his mood and reminds him of the time when Jack was scared while learning to ride a bicycle, but with time, he became so much better at it. Hearing his father's words, Jack finds solace in the idea that just like he improved with cycling, he will also get better with his social interactions at school, and other kids will eventually accept him and befriend him. The next day, during the lunch break at school, Jack sits alone in a tunnel to have his lunch since he doesn't have anyone to eat with. Miss Marquez, his teacher, feels bad for him and decides to keep him company. She sits with Jack and has lunch together, making him feel a little less lonely. Meanwhile, in the basketball match that day, one of the players is missing from Luis's team, so he invites Jack to play on his team. Initially, Jack is unsure about what to do, but as the game progresses, he finds his groove and starts scoring the most baskets. His skills help Luis's team win the match. During class, Miss Marquez assigns homework to write an essay about each student's aspirations for their future careers and the reasons behind their choices. As the task is given, Luis, known for his mischievous nature, declares that he wants to become a gynecologist and cheekily mentions that his reason is Miss Marquez herself. Unimpressed by Luis's remarks, Miss Marquez sternly warns him that she will report his behavior to his parents. However, throughout the class, she focuses her attention on Jack, feeling sympathetic towards him because of his unique situation. After school, Luis approaches Jack and requests him to meet his mother, Dolores, and pretend to be the school principal so his mom won't actually meet the real principal. Jack feels uncertain about the idea, but before they can decide, Dolores arrives. She mistakes Jack for the principal and begins explaining that she recently went through a divorce, which has had an impact on Luis's behavior. Jack, trying to blend in, reassures Dolores not to worry and tells her that Luis is actually the smartest kid in school. He suggests that she shouldn't be overly concerned about him. Dolores becomes surprised to know about her son's progress. Before parting ways, Dolores gives her number to Jack and invites him to have lunch together sometime to discuss Luis's situation calmly. Luis, grateful for Jack's help, expresses his thanks by offering him sweets. That day, Jack comes home brimming with happiness and excitement, darting around the house. He can't wait to share all the school stories, so he immediately calls his dad at the office to tell him about his day. Brian is thrilled to hear about his son's progress. On the next holiday, Luis pays a visit to Jack's house and extends an invitation for a sleepover at his place. Karen is pleasantly surprised at how quickly her son has made new friends, and she happily grants permission for Jack to have a sleepover at Luis's house. They both hop on their bikes and head to the treehouse where Luis and his friends often have fun together. The other kids are initially hesitant to include Jack in their group, but Luis shows them an adult magazine Jack had bought on the way. This catches their attention because Jack, looking like a 40-year-old, can do things that kids of their age can't. Seeing this, they welcome him into their group. For the first time, Jack has a fun-filled time with kids of his own age, enjoying a carefree and playful day together. On the other hand, Karen is feeling a mix of emotions as memories of her son's early years flood her mind. Brian finds her in a box in which Jack used to play. He comforts her, explaining that it is a good thing that their son is growing up and making friends with other children. As days pass, the other children start to like Jack more and they all pose for the class photo for the yearbook together. They enjoy spending time in the treehouse, celebrating festivals, and Jack used to buy adult magazines for them. One day, Jack invites his former teacher, Woodruff, to the treehouse as well. However, the treehouse can't handle the weight of so many people and it collapses. As more time goes by, Jack starts showing signs of aging. His hair begins to fall out, prompting him to use black gel to hide it. While his classmates have already submitted their essays about what they want to be when they grow up, Jack still hasn't written anything. One of the girls in the class mentioned that she wants to get married by the age of 28, but when Jack calculates his age, he realizes he would be 112 by then. Finally, he decides that he just wants to grow up and live a long life. After the class, Jack approaches Miss Marquez to ask her to be his dance partner for the upcoming school dance show. He explains that his height makes it difficult to find a suitable partner among the girls his age. As Miss Marquez tries to explain to him that it wouldn't be possible, Jack impulsively kisses her. Miss Marquez is taken aback and doesn't know how to respond. She finally gathers herself and firmly tells Jack that despite his physical appearance, he is still just a child, and they can't be dance partners. She apologizes for not being able to fulfill his request. Feeling upset by Miss Marquez's rejection, Jack runs away crying and ends up slipping and falling on the stairs. He is immediately taken to the hospital, where Brian and Karen rush to be by his side. The doctor explains that due to the rapid growth of Jack's cells, his condition is becoming critical, and there is a possibility that he might not live beyond another 10 years. Upon returning home, Karen explains to Jack that they have decided not to send him to school anymore, considering his health condition. However, this news frustrates Jack greatly because he doesn't want to be separated from his friends at school. He pleads with his father to let him go back to school, but Brian and Karen, being overly caring, don't approve his request. Later that night, while Karen and Brian were sleeping, Jack's gaze falls upon a matchbox with Dolores' number and the name of a club written on it. Intrigued, he silently leaves the house and makes his way to the club for the first time. There, he meets a man named Paul, who quickly becomes a good friend of Jack's and also offers him a drink. After a while, Dolores arrives at the club, and they both start dancing together. Dolores tries to seduce Jack, but he feels uncomfortable since she is his friend's mother. In a moment of awkward escape, he accidentally bumps into a drunk man, unleashing a fury of aggression upon Jack. However, with his childlike humor, Jack starts making fun of the man, which results in the man feeling insulted and punching Jack in the face. The club's manager calls the police, and both the intoxicated man and Jack are taken to jail. Dolores manages to get Jack out on bail and drops him off at his home. Jack's parents are still asleep, so the situation doesn't escalate further. 2 weeks have passed since that incident, and Jack spends his entire day sitting sadly in the same room. His beard has grown long, but he has no interest in shaving it. His friends visit him every day, but Karen, being selfish, doesn't allow them to meet him. Concerned about Jack's condition, Karen decides to call Woodruff, hoping that he might be able to convince Jack to come out of his room. When Woodruff arrives, Jack shares with him that he has no interest in studying and learning things that he won't be able to apply in his life because he won't be around by then. The next day, Jack musters up the courage to confront his parents, firmly telling them that he is going to school regardless of their objections. Jack's parents, seeing his unwavering determination, allow him, thinking that at least he will be happy in school. In school, it is time for the students to share their essays that they have written as homework. When it is Luis's turn, he expresses his desire to grow up and be like his best friend Jack. Because unlike other adults, Jack isn't afraid to try new things, talk to new people, and see everything with a fresh and open outlook. He is not boring like most adult-looking people. He has an adventurous and fearless spirit that inspires Luis to be just like him, and he wants to become a giant like Jack. As Luis is reading his essay, Jack enters the class, and all the children and Miss Marquez are thrilled to see him back. They have missed him dearly during his absence, and his return fills the room with joy and happiness. The scene then shifts to 7 years later, and Jack and his friends have completed their high school graduation. Jack has aged significantly, with his hair now fully white, and wrinkles adorning his face. During his graduation speech, he shares a profound insight about the brevity of life, emphasizing the importance of living it to the fullest. He encourages everyone to embrace every breath and make their lives extraordinary so that when their final moments arrive, they can look back with gratitude for having lived a fantastic life. Jack's inspiring speech touches the heart of everyone present, and they applaud him with tears in their eyes. After the graduation ceremony, Jack and his friends go on a long drive for vacation, and with this scene, the movie comes to an end. The rating of this movie is 5.8, but I'll give it a 7. If you like the explanation, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.